Hi everyone, welcome back once again in my YouTube channel. So guys, I hope you all are doing great. And guys, in last video, I have discussed Core Java interview question and answer series part 2. So in this video, I am going to continuation for this last video, that is part 2. So this video is going to part 3. So in this video also, I will explain which is mostly asked in the interview, all core Java question only. So guys, let me open our PDF in which we have collected all the questions. So I hope you remember for till 138 already I have discussed in part 2, so which is more important for interview purpose, right? So guys, I will start now today in this video from 139. So this question belongs to our what? Nested class and inner classes. So once the interview may ask the question related to the nested classes and inner classes, so what type of question they are going to ask. So guys, first question, what are nested classes in Java, guys? So guys, what we know very well, right? So classes declared with another class is defined as nested class, right? Nested means what? Class inside class, right? So class declared with another class is defined as nested class. Okay. So there are two types of nested class in Java. What we know very well. So a static nested class and non-static nested class. A static nested class has a static keyword here. One difference is that, right? So static nested class has a static keyword declared before our class definition. Okay. That thing we should keep in mind. Guys, the next question may be happen, right? So what are inner classes or non-static classes in Java? So the nested classes without any static keyword. Nested classes without any static keyword declared in the definition are defined as a non-static nested classes again. Generally guys, non-static nested classes are referred as inner classes. This thing main important thing. Generally, non-static nested class are referred as a inner classes. So there are three types of inner class in Java. So first is local inner class, second is member inner class, and third is anonymous inner class. These three class we have, right? So get the next question, why to use nested class in Java? Or maybe in different way they may ask, what is the purpose of nested class in Java? Why to use nested class in Java? Or what is the purpose of nested class in Java? So both the question are same, but the way for asking by the interviewer is different. Okay. So first get grouping of related classes. So classes which are not reusable. Even get classes which are not reusable can be defined as inner class instead of creating a inner class. That thing. So just for example, we have a submit button, right? Just think, if you have a submit button, right? Upon a click of submit button, we need to execute some code, right? So this code is related only to that class and cannot be reused for other class, right? Instead of creating a new class, we can create one inner class. That is first users get. And second get, to increase encapsulation. What? To increase encapsulation. Inner class can access private members of outer class, right? So by creating getter and setter method for private variable outside world, what we know? So outside world can access the variables, but by creating inner class, private variable can be accessed only by inner class. Good. What we should know. Then third is code readable and maintainable, right? So rather than creating a new class, we can create inner class so that it is easy to maintain. So guys, all these 3 points we need to tell to the interviewer, so due to which we are going to use nested class in Java. And guys, also one point, hiding implementation. Inner class helps us to help what? Helps to hide the implements of class. Right? That's why we need to use that in nested class in Java, right? Then next question, explain about a static nested class in Java. What is a static nested class in Java, guys? So guys, see, when a static class is defined inside a enclosing class, right? We define that in nested class. A static nested classes are not in a class, guide. A static nested class can be instantiated without the instance of outer class. A static nested doesn't have access to instance variable and non-static method of outer class. Good. That is the answer for this word. Nested a static nested class in Java, guide. Then guys, one more question may arise: how to instantiate a static nested class in Java? So guys, we can access a static member and a static method of outer class without creating any instance of outer class, guide. Syntax like for instantiating a static nested class, guide. So outer class name dot a static nested class. Put the object name then equal to new outer class name dot what static nested class name. In this way we can what instantiate a static nested class. The next question: explain about method local inner class or local inner class in Java. Okay, so method local inner class or local inner class. So guys, nested class defined inside a method. Nested class defined inside a method or local inner class, right? Yes or no? Nested classes defined inside a method are local inner class. We can create object of local inner class only inside method where class is defined, guys. A local inner class exists only when method is invoked and goes out of scope when method returns. Right? This thing we need to understand. The next question: explain about features of local inner class. What is the features? What is the benefit of local inner class, guide? So the local inner class doesn't have any access specifier, right? We cannot use access modified static for local inner class, but we can use abstract and final for local inner class. We can't declare static members inside local inner class, guide. We can create object of local inner class only inside method where class is defined. These all are the points what we should remember. The next question, guys, it's very important. Explain about anonymous inner class in Java. Most of the interview, this question asked by the interviewer. What question, guys? Explain about anonymous inner class in Java. So guys, inner class defined without any class. Inner class defined without any class name is called what? Anonymous inner class. Yes or no? That thing what we know, right? The class defined without any class name is called anonymous. Means anonymous what? We don't know. What is the name of the class? That is called anonymous inner class. An inner class is declared and instantiated using new keyword. The main purpose of anonymous inner class in Java are to provide interface implementation. Yes or no? What is the main purpose, guys? The main purpose of anonymous inner class in Java are to provide interface implementation. We use anonymous class when we need only one instance for a class. We can use all members of enclosing class and final local variables. When we compile anonymous inner class, guy, compiler creates two files. First is enclosing name.class and second thing what? Enclosing name what? $1.class. That thing internet is happening. Okay. The next question: explain restriction for using anonymous inner class. What is restriction for using anonymous inner class? So guys, we have some point what we should know. This is the what restriction. So guys, an anonymous inner class cannot have any constructor because there is no name for class, because the name itself not there, right? Because there is no name for the class, that's why we should not have any constructor. That is first restriction. Second is an anonymous inner class cannot define a static method, fields or class. And third, we can't define an interface anonymously. And fourth is anonymous inner class can be instantiated only once. So the next question is valid in Java. Can we instantiate interface in Java? Just like runnable are equal to new runnable. Alright. What do we have? Void method, run method. Runnable is an interface, guy. If we see the error code, it looks like we are instantiating runnable interface, but we are not instantiating interface. We are instantiating anonymous inner class, which is implementation of runnable interface. Correct? That is the guy region, right? So then next question, guy, explain about member inner classes. What is the member inner classes, guy? So what we know, guy, so non-static class defined with enclosing classes are called member inner classes. Correct? Non-static what class defined within enclosing classes are called member inner class. A member inner class is defined at a member level, guy. Member level of class. A member inner class can access the member of outer class, including private members. Just features, guy. So what is the feature of members inner classes? Guy, a member inner class can be declared abstract or final. Second, a member inner class can extend class or implement interface. An inner class cannot declare static fields or methods. And last, guy, a member inner class can be declared with public, private, protected, or default access. Okay, these are the what member inner classes. Yes or no? Then next question may arise, guys, how to instantiate member inner class. So outer class name dot inner class name, and need to put the name of the object reference equal to new outer class reference dot new inner class name. That is the way to instantiate of the member inner class. Then next, how do you encapsulation in Java? How to do encapsulation in Java? So guys, in coming video, I will explain completely on polymorphism. Okay, not polymorphism, OOPS concept. Under OOPS concept, we have some pillar, right? Encapsulation, inheritance, yes or no? Abstraction, right? Polymorphism. These all are the pillar of OOPS concept. So in that, one topic is encapsulation. So what question here? How to do encapsulation in Java? So guys, make instance variable private. Make instance variable private. Define getter and setter method to access instance variable. That is, guys, we are going to do for encapsulation. I will explain briefly in coming video, guys. Then next question, what are reference variable in Java? Reference means, guys, you know how you are going to reference. This is a object for this, right? Suppose if I am going to see variable which are used to access object in Java are called reference variable. Okay? If anybody asks, or an interview may ask you, hey, what do you mean by reference variable in Java? So you can tell variable which are used to access object. Variable which are used to access object in Java are called reference variables. Such like that. Suppose if you are going to create object of employee, so employee emp equal to new employee, right? So in this above, what employee is a reference variable, right? In this above example, emp is the reference variable. Reference variable can be of any one type, right? Can be only one type. A reference variable can point to any numbers of objects, but if a reference variable is declared final, it can point to other object. Keep in mind, a reference variable can be declared either to a class type or interface type. If a reference variable is declared with interface type, it points to the class that implements the interface. That thing about reference variable. Right? So the next question, will the compiler creates a default constructor? Will the compiler creates default constructor if I have parameters considered in the class? Okay, not at all. No compiler won't create default constructor if there is parameter considered in the class. If already parameter considered in the class, so compiler won't create any default constructor. For example, if I have a class with no constructor, then compiler will create default constructor, guys. Keep in mind, suppose if you're creating a class, so by default JVM will create one default constructor. If you have created the constructor in the class, then it can't create default constructor. It can use as per your created constructor. Get the next question. Can we have a method name same as class name in Java? Yes, we can have method name same as class name. It won't throw any compilation error guy, but it shows a warning message that method name is same as class name. The next question guy, can we avoid constructor in Java? Only methods can be avoided in Java guy. Constructor cannot be inherited in Java. So there is no point of what? What? Avoid a constructor in Java guy. So can static method access instance variable in Java? No. Instance variable cannot access in a static method guy. When we try to access instance variable in static method, we get compilation error. The error is get like that. So cannot make a static reference to the non-static field name get. This type of error message you may get if you're going to create a static. If you're going into a static method access instance of a variable. Get the next question. How do we access a static method in Java? How do we access a static member in Java guys? So guys, instance variable and instance method can be accessed using reference variable, but to access a static variable, a static method, we use class name in Java. With the class name you can call the static variable or static method. Okay, can we avoid a static method in Java? A static method can't be avoided guys. Always keep in mind, a static method can't be overridden. If we have a static method in superclass and subclass with same signature, then we don't say that is overriding. We call that edge. Right? So guys, difference between object and reference. What is object? What is reference? Guys, reference and object both are different. Most of the candidate confused. Object and reference are both are same. No, reference and object are both are different. Objects are instance of class. Objects are instance of class that reside in heap memory guy. Object doesn't have any name, so to access objects we use references. There is no alternative way to access object except through reference. Object can't be assigned. Object cannot be assigned to other object. An object cannot be passed as an argument to a method. Reference is variable which is used to access contents of object. A reference can be assigned to other reference passed to method as well. That thing also keep in mind guys. Then objects or reference, which of them get garbage collected? So object get garbage collected guys, not its reference. Okay. How many times finalize method will be invoked? Who invokes finalize method in Java guys? There also one most what frequent asked question in the interview. What? How many times finalize method will be invoked and who invokes finalize method in Java? So guys, finalize method will be called only once on object before the object gets garbage collected. Garbage collector will call finalize method to free the resources. Right? Finalize method will be called only when object is eligible to go to the garbage collection. Guys, then question is next. Can we able to pass objects as an argument in Java? So guys, only reference can be passed to a method, not a object. We cannot pass the object to a method. The largest amount of data that can be passed as parameter are long or double guys. Guys, one important question as well. Explain wrapper class in Java. What is wrapper class? So guys, converting primitive to objects can be done with the help of wrapper class only. Right? Converting primitive to objects can be done with the technique that is called what? Wrapper class. Prior to Java 1.5, we use what? Wrapper class to convert primitive to object. From Java 1.5, we have new feature guy, auto boxing, which is used to convert automatically primitive to objects. But in wrapper class, programmer has to take care of converting primitive to object. So guys, wrapper class are immutable in Java. Always keep in mind, all the wrapper class what we have in Java, all are immutable. Once a value is assigned to it, we cannot change the value. That is called immutability concept. So I explain different types of wrapper class in Java. So we can see here, so in our table, so primitive, boolean, int, float, char, byte, long, short, these all are the primitive data type, right? And wrapper class guy, thus we are going to create one class, boolean, integer, float, character, byte, long, short. These all are the wrapper class, which all wrapper class are immutable. Correct? Guys, then one question is explained about tangent variable in Java. What is tangent? This is using generally in our multi-threading. Okay, to save the state of an object, to persistent state, we use serialization, right? Good. If you want to fill or variable in the object not to be saved, then we declare that variable or fill as tangent. So not I have missed out. So this is not using in a multi-threading. It is using serialization process get. So volatile is the keyword which is used generally in multi-threading. But tangent is such type of variable, okay, to save the state of an object to persistent state. We use serialization. If you want to fill a variable in the object not to save, if you are going to avoid to save, then you are going to use the tangent keyword. Then we declare that variable or fill as a tangent, which are not going to save, right? Okay, the next question, just like example I mentioned here, tangent int card number. Suppose if you are not going to save the card number for persistent operation, that time you need to explicitly mention this card number is a tangent type. So we are not going to persist this field, right? So guys, can we serialize a static variable in Java? A static variable cannot be serialized in Java, guys. Keep in mind. So what is type of conversion in Java, guys? So guys, assign a value of one type to variable of other type is called type conversion. Correct? Guys, next question. Explain about automatic type conversion in Java, guys. That is guys auto boxing unboxing, right? So guys, automatic type conversion is done with following conditions are met when two types are compatible, right? So int can be assigned to directly to float variable. Destination type is larger than the source type, right? So if both are compatible, only we can convert. Int can be assigned directly to a long, automatic type conversion take place. If int is assigned to a long, because long is larger data type than int, right? So guys, next question, explain what narrowing conversion in Java, guys. So guys, when destination type is smaller, than source type, we use narrowing conversion mechanism in Java. Narrowing conversion has to be done, guys, manually if destination type is smaller than the source type. To do narrowing conversion, we use casting, right? Cast is nothing but explicit type casting, guys. Explain the importance of import keyword in Java. Why we are going to use the import keyword in Java, guys? So guys, see, import keyword used to import single class or package to our source file. Yes or no? The import statement is declared after package declaration. We use while character, guys. We use while character star to import package, guys. Note, after compilation, the compiled code then contain import statement. It will be replaced with fully qualified class name. That is, guys, purpose of our import keyword. Explain naming convention for package, guys. So guys, see, some defined standard naming convention for package, guys. Package name should be small in letters. Package name start with the reverse. Company domain name is to www followed by the department, just like that, and project name, and then the name of the package, com.google.sales.employee, just like we need to get our package. Okay, what is class path? So guys, the path where our .class file are saved, is referred as a class path. JVM searches for .class file by using the class path specifier. Class path is specified using class path environment variable guy. Class path environment variable can contain more than one value. So the class path variable contain more than one value is separated by semicolon. Correct guy? So example guy, to set class path from command prompt. So set class path equal to, need to give the path name. Only parent directories need to be added to class path. Correct? So here one question may arise, what is jar? What is jar guy? So guys, jar stands for Java archive file, right? So jar are created by using jar.exe tool. Jar files contain .class file, other resource used in our application, and manifest file, right? Manifest file contains class name with main method. So jar contains guy compressed .class file. JVM finds this .class file without uncompressing this jar. This thing we should know guy about the jar. Guys, the next question, what is a scope or lifetime of instance variable? What is a scope and what is lifetime of the instance variable once we are going to create any instance variable? So let's see, when object is instantiated, right? When object is instantiated using new operator, variable get allocated, right? Variable get allocated in the memory. Instance variable remain in the memory till the instance get garbage collected. That is the guy scope. Then the next question, explain the scope or lifetime of class variable or static variable. So guys, this is very, very important things. So what is a scope? Okay, what is lifetime of the variable or static variable? So a static variable don't belongs to instance of the class, right? A static variable don't belong to the instance of the class. We can access static fields even before instancing the class. A static variable remain in memory till lifetime of the application guy. Explain a scope of lifetime of local variable. So first instance variable, then class variable or static variable, then question coming local variable. What is the scope or lifetime of local variable in Java? So a local variable are variables which are defined inside a method. What we know, right? If anybody asks you what local variable means, what? The variable which are defined inside a method. When the method is created, local variable gets created guy. Keep in mind, when the method is created, local variables get created in a stack memory, and this variable gets deleted from memory once the method execution is done. When the method execution is done, then this variable will get deleted from the memory. Then next question, explain about a static import in Java. What is a static import guy? So let's see, from Java 5.0, when we can import a static variable in the source file, right? So importing a static member to source file is referred as a static import. The advantage of a static import is what? We can access a static variable without class or interface name. Just like I import a static package name dot class name dot static what? Variable name. Okay, just like I import static com dot abc dot employee number. That is the way we are going to what? Import a static import. Get the next question, what? Can we define a static method inside interface? What guy? Can we define a static method inside interface? We can't declare guy a static method inside interface. Only instance method are permitted in interface only guy. Only instance method are permitted in interface. Only public and abstract modifiers are permitted for interface method guy. If you try to declare a static method inside interface, we can get compilation error saying what? Illegal modifier for the interface method, class name dot method name. Only public and abstract are permitted. This type of message you may get if you are going to use a static method inside the interface. Get the next question, define interface in Java. What is interface in Java guy? This is also an important question. Most of the time interview may ask this question. Interface is collection of abstract method guy. What? Interface is collection of abstract methods and constants. An interface also defined as pure or 100% what abstract class. Interface are implicitly what abstract, whether we define abstract access modifier or not. A class implementing interface overrides all the abstract method defined interface. Implements keyword used to implement interface. Then guys, next question: what is the purpose of interface? This is defined. What is defined of what is definition of interface? I mentioned. I have explained. The next question may arise: what is the purpose of interface? Why we are going to read interface? What it needs? So guys, interface is a contract. What? Interface is a contract. Interface acts like a communication between two objects. Communication between two objects. When we are defining interface, we are defining a contract what our class should do, but not how it does. An interface doesn't define what a method does. The power of interface lies when different classes that are unrelated can implement interface. So interfaces are designed to support dynamic method resolution at runtime. Okay, then the question may arise: what is the feature of interface? So okay, these are the features what I'm going to explain now. So all the methods defined in the interface are implicitly abstract, even though abstract modifier is not declared. Good. If you are not mentioning abstract, even this method is abstract. Abstract means what? The method which doesn't have any body. All the methods in interface are public, whether they are declared as public or not. This is also one feature. Variable declared inside interface are default public, static, and final if you are defining or not. Interfaces cannot be instantiated. This is also one feature. We cannot declare a static method inside interface. This is also one feature. Implements keyword to use to implement interface. Unlike class, interface can extend any number of interfaces. We can define a class inside interface, and the class acts like inner class to interface. An interface can extend a class and implements an interface. Multiple inheritance in Java is achieved through interface only. So guys, these all are the features what we should remember. Guys, next question: explain enumeration in Java. What is enumeration? So guys, enumeration is a new feature from Java 5.0. So enumeration is a set of name constant. Suppose if you use enum keyword to declare enumeration, the values defined in enumeration or enum constant. Each enum constant declared inside enum class is by default public, static, and final. Example just get: suppose public enum days. Days are our enum class. Suppose Sunday to Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The name of our what? Class. So that is our enum name, right? The constant, right? Okay, next question: explain restriction of using enum. What is restriction of if you are going to use the enum class? So guys, enum cannot extend any other class or enum, right? This is not, we are not going to extend any class from the enum class. We cannot instantiate an enum. We can declare fields. We can declare fields and methods in enum class, but these fields and methods should follow the what? Enum constant. Otherwise, we get compilation error. Then again, next question: explain about field hiding in Java. Guys, if superclass and subclass have some fields, right? Suppose if superclass and subclass have same fields, subclass cannot avoid superclass fields. In this case, subclass field hides the superclass fields. If you want to use superclass variable in subclass, we use super keyword guide to access the superclass variable. Then question coming here: explain about where args in Java. So beginning with Java guide 5 has a new feature, what? Where args, which allow method to have variable number of arguments. It simplifies creation of methods when there are more number of arguments. Earlier to Java 5 guide, where args are handled by creating a method with array of arguments, just like a public static environment string array args, right? A var arg, so a variable length of argument is defined using what? Ellipsis with type in signature guide. Main method with what? Where args is written as a follows: public static void string args, right? So if no arguments are passes, we get what? With size 0 guide. There is no need to null check if no arguments are passed. That is the use of the where args. Guys, next, explain where variables are created in memory. Explain where variables are created in memory. Guys. So guys, when we declare variables, variables are created in a stack. So when the variables is out of scope, those variables get garbage collected. Guys, then question is, can we switch a statement with a string? Can we use switch a statement with a string? So guys, prior to Java 7, we can use only int values and enum constant in switch. Starting with Java 7, we can use a string in switch statement as well. If we use a string in switch statement prior to Java 7, we will get compile time error. Only int and enum constant are permitted. Guys, next question, in Java, how to do we copy object? How to do the use the copy object? So guys, see, in Java we can copy two objects, but by assigning one reference to other, we can copy object. Guys. For example, guys, if we have a reference R1 and point to object, right? If we have a reference R1 that point to object, so when we declare R2 equal to R1, we are assigning a reference R1 to R2. So now R2 point is same object where R1 points, right? So any change done by one reference on the object will reflect to other. That way we can copy for the object. Okay, so these all are the questions of our nested inner class and all the basic of our memory levels. Okay, and switch statement level. So this is done, guys. This part 3. So in next part I will explain collection and OOPS concept, which is more frequent question asked in the interview room. So that's it, guys, as of now in part 3. If you like the video, please like, share, subscribe. Thank you, guys. We'll meet very soon in next video. Bye bye.